Hey, everyone is telling you to use AI tools. So every LinkedIn post, every reel, every YouTube video, use Figma AI, use ChatGPT, use Midjourney, use this, use that, and you open your laptop and you don't know where to even start. So I have been watching this for almost 2 years now. So I watch UX designers, junior, senior. They open 5 AA tools, use none of them properly, and then they go back to doing everything on manually. So today I am going to cut through all of that noise. 9 tools, each one has a very specific job. I am going to tell you what that job is. And more importantly, I am going to tell you what not to use each tool for. Because that is where most designers they go wrong. Hi, I'm Rambal, 25 years in design, branding, product. So I started Aspira, a full-time UX design school in 2018. So far, I trained 4,600 designers. So I watch what tools junior designers actually use and what experienced designers use. And the gap between those two groups is tool discipline. So it is not about using more number of tools. It is about using the right tool for the right job. So before I'm going to proceed, I want to ask one small question. So drop your answer in the comments. So which AI tool do you use the most right now as a designer? Option A, Claude or ChatGPT. Option B, Figma AI. Option C, Midjourney or other image tools. Option D, I don't really use AI yet. So drop your letter. I will tell you at the end of this video whether you are using it right or not. Section 3, the real problem with how designers using AI. So let me tell you what I observe. So most UX designers, especially juniors, they open Claude or ChatGPT and they start asking it for everything. So they are asking for a research, a writing, competitor analysis, image generations, everything. So Claude is a brilliant thinking partner, but Claude cannot do product feature comparison the way Perplexity can. Perplexity pulls the live data, real product pages, real documentations, or real reviews. Claude can do the reasons beautifully, but its knowledge has a cutoff. So it cannot browse live product data, same with the deep research. So designers are using the ChatGPT for a research, but Gemini Deep Research and Perplexity, they are purpose built for that. So they pull the sources, they synthesize, they give you the citations you can verify. So one tool for everything is not a workflow, it's a habit. And the habits are not the same as strategy. Okay, so let's go through the tools. So I will tell you the tool, what it's best for and what it cannot do. So tool number 1, Claude from Anthropic. So it's best to use for thinking, writing, strategy, frameworks, case study copy, interview preparations. So how to use? So you can use Claude when you need to think out loud. So ask it to the critique your UX decisions. So ask it to play devil's advocate on your user flow. So give it your case study draft and ask it to rewrite it with very clarity. So use it to prepare for a design interviews. So it is the best reasoning partner available right now. So don't use Claude for live product data, current competitor pricing, image generations, real-time search. So I use Claude every single day for writing the scripts like this one, for thinking through product strategy, for framing the user problems. But when I need to know what features Swiggy Instamart launched last quarter, I don't ask Claude. I go to Perplexity. So Claude is your senior design mentor. So not your search engine. Tool number 2, Perplexity AI. So it's best to use for product feature comparison and live competitor research, industry benchmarks, current design trends. So how to use? So you can open Perplexity when you want to compare the two products, something like a Zepto with Blinkit checkout flow, or when you want to know what accessibility standards, when you want to know what accessibility standards changed in 2025. So Perplexity searches a live sites resources and gives you the verifiable data. So it is the research tool. So don't use Perplexity for long form writing, creative explorations, UX strategy, storytelling. So here is a real example. I was helping a student work on a fintech project. So she needed to understand how HDFC, ICICI, and Axis handle the KYC flows. She asked Claude, she got a very general answer. See, ask the same thing on Perplexity. See, got the current process flows, user complaints from forums, and link to the RBA guideline update. For UX research, Perplexity is often your first step, so not your last. Tool number three, Gemini Deep Research. So it's best to use for long multi-source research synthesis, user behavior studies, market reports, academic research on UX. So how to use? So when you are doing the research phase of a project and you need a genuine literature review, not a quick answer, use Gemini Deep Research. So it reads multiple sources, synthesizes them, and gives you the structured report. So think of it as your research assistant doing 2 hours of reading in 3 minutes. So don't use a Gemini for quick answers, visual work, design output, writing case studies. If you are designing a health app and you need to understand how people with low digital literacy interact with the form fields, so that is the Gemini Deep Research task. It will pull academic papers, usability studies, industry reports. So Claude will reason about it. So Gemini will research it. Both are valuable, so they are not the same tool. So tool number four, ChatGPT from OpenAI. It's best to use for brainstorming, persona generation, writing a UX micro copy, generating survey questions, accessibility copy. So how to use? So ChatGPT is a strong for rabbit generation. So you need a 10 error message variants. So ChatGPT do it in 30 seconds. You need a user persona with the demographics, goals, and frustration, ChatGPT. So you need a 20 survey questions for a usability study, you can use ChatGPT. So use it for the volume generation tasks where speed matters. So don't use ChatGPT for deep reasoning, live research, nuanced UX critique, and Claude is better for those. So ChatGPT and Claude overlap in many areas, but ChatGPT image generation through DAL-E is also useful for quick moodboard images. So my personal view, for pure thinking and writing quality, Claude is sharper. For quick generation volume, ChatGPT is fast. So you don't need to pick one, use both. So you need to understand what each is optimized for. So tool number five, Figma AI. So you can use Figma AI for creating auto layout suggestions, renaming the layers, generating placeholder content, first draft wireframes from prompts. So how to use? So Figma AI is built into your design tool. Use it for grunt work. So generating filler copy, auto naming layers, making first pass wireframes from a text prompt to React. So it saves around 30 to 60 minutes of setup time on a new project. So don't use Figma for pixel perfect final designs, brand specific outputs, complex interactions logics. So a lot of designers either over rely on Figma AI or they ignore it completely. So the right use it to start fast and throw away. So generate a first set of wireframe, then immediately make it yours. So move to the Figma design and you have to finalize it. So Figma AI gives you something to react. So not something to submit. So tool number six, Stitch with Google. It's a generative AI tool from Google. So earlier it was called as a Galileo. It's the best to use for converting hand-drawn sketches to wireframes, Rabbit low fidelity prototype generation from prompts. So how to use? So in early discovery, so when you want to put 5 different layout ideas on screen fast, so before you come into Figma, so these tools will help you. So give Stitch with the Google a sketch or a prompt. Get a rough UI back. So react it and iterate, move to Figma. So don't use for high fidelity design, developer ready output, anything with your actual brand systems. So I'll be very honest here. These tools are still early. The output is rough, but the speed for the lo-fi exploration, that is real value. So especially for students doing multiple case studies in parallel. So don't use the output, use the speed. Tool number seven, Midjourney or Ideogram for image generation. So basically used for, you can create the mood boards, visual directions explorations, hero image concepts, brand visual language in early exploration. So how to use? So when you are in the visual direction phase, so trying to establish a mood, a color story, a texture language. So Midjourney and Ideogram let you generate 20 visual references in 10 minutes. So use this for the client client presentations at concept stage, not for the final product assets. So don't use for UI components, icons, logos, anything that needs precision or text rendering. So in my observation, Ideogram has better text rendering than Midjourney right now. If you need a visual with readable text inside it, use Ideogram. Midjourney is still king of pure aesthetic quality and photorealism. So both are mood board tools, not a design tools. So tool number 8, Maze or Useberry, AI assisted usability testing. So best used for unmoderated usability testing, heat maps, task completion analysis, AI generated insight summaries. So how to use? When you have a Figma prototype and you need a usability data, Maze lets you run unmoderated test and uses AI to summarize the patterns in responses. It saves you hours of manual node synthesis. So use this in your case study to show you tested real users, not just assumptions. So don't use Maze for moderated research, discovery interviews, complex contextual inquiry. So those still need humans. So in my understanding, so this is one area where AI is genuinely transformative for junior designers. So running a usability test used to require a research lead, a moderator, and hours of synthesis. So now you prototype in Figma, push it to Maze, get 10 to 20 responses, and the AI gives you the pattern summary. So if your case study doesn't include any testing data, Maze changes that. So use it. Tool number 9, Notion AI for productivity and documentation. So best used for UX documentation, research synthesis notes, writing the project briefs, summarizing the meeting notes, design system documentation. So how to use? So Notion AI sits inside your workspace. So use it to write your UX research reports, your design rational documents, your handoff notes to developers. So ask it to summarize 3 pages of user interview notes into 10 key insights. So it is your documentation speed layer. It is your documentation speed layer. Don't use for primary research, design decisions, anything that needs original creative thinking. So my verdict, this is the most underused tool in the list for junior designers. Your documentation tells the story of your thinking. Most students, they write the weak case study documentation because it takes too long. So Notion AI makes documentation fast, and good documentation is what turns a project into a case study. Section 5, the framework. When to use what? Let me tie this together in a simple framework. So discovery phase, you are researching the problem space. So use Gemini Deep Research for academic and behavioral research. Use Perplexity for live market and competitor data. So define phase. So you are synthesizing the insights, writing personas, framing the problem. So use Claude to think through your problem statement. So use Notion AI to write your research report. Ideate phase. So you are generating ideas and exploring the layouts. So use ChatGPT for rapid concept brainstorming. Use Stitch with Google or Figma AI for first pass wireframes. Design phase. You are building the actual UI. So use Figma AI for layer organization and content. Use Midjourney or Ideogram for mood board and visual direction. Test phase. So you are validating with the users. So use Maze for unmoderated testing and AI insight synthesis. So document and present phase. So you are writing the case study. So use Notion AI for documentation. Use Claude for case study writing and storytelling. My honest take. So let me be direct with you. So you don't need all these 9 tools, not right now. If you are a junior designer, start with 3. So Claude for thinking and writing, Perplexity for research, Figma AI inside the tool you already use. So get good at those 3 before you add anything else. So using 9 tools poorly is worse than using 3 tools properly. So I see the students spending 4 hours trying to generate the perfect Midjourney mood board for a project that doesn't even have a defined user yet. So there is not a AI assisted design, that is AI assisted procrastination. The designers who use AI well, they use it to go faster on the parts they already understand. So not to skip the parts they haven't learned yet. AI will not replace a designer who thinks clearly. AI will replace a designer who doesn't. That's it. So that's the whole message. Conclusion. So if this video gave you clarity on where to start, do one thing. Pick one tool from this list you are not currently using. Use it on your current project this week, just to one. That's it. At Aspira, we build AI tool fluency directly into our UX training, not as a separate module. Built into how we do research, how we test, and how we document. So if you want to see how we train, the link is in the description. So come to the free demo class or reach out to the team on WhatsApp. So that link also in the description. So if you find this video was useful, like it and share it with one designer friend who is confused about AI tools right now. So they need this more than you do. So subscribe our channel for more UX career advice. So real talk, no fluff. So I'm Rambal. I will see you in the next meaningful topic. Until then, bye-bye.